cutting ads with a baby ain't always that easy. Or it's my freaking Siamese cat all up in my business. One of the two. Or a dog that I had to shun this morning because he feels the need to after eating his 3 scoops. I'm just going to roll over to the cat's dish, eat all her ginger snaps like a freaking goofball. Man, animals are crazy. Why do we bring the jungle into our house? Why do we do this to ourselves? For real, man. Oh, companionship? Yeah. But then people get lizards and snakes, reptiles that have no emotions. What's wrong with us? Bunch of silly geese. I have been paying attention to the news. And I don't mean, I've been paying attention to the broad idea of the news. What's being brought to us through various outlets. And when you do that, you start just comparing the outlets. And I know we've all kind of grown up. You watch this news station every night. You watch this one. Same thing with radio, where you always had a kind of a limited option. And now, since the internet has blown up, we have varying outlets that are in it's a competition for transparency now with the internet, not so much a competition on what your beliefs are. For instance, CNN, Fox News, or charbroiled burgers and McDonald's burgers, Burger King versus Mickey D's, or where do you get gas? I feel like options are being made more accessible. We have way more options nowadays with how we consume news. And recently we had basically 3 rallies in one in Washington, D.C. One bunch you had the Black Israelites. Another bunch you had Native Americans. And another bunch you had a bunch of young, immature, Make America Great Again red hat sporting high school kids. Okay? Calamity ensued. Different news organizations told a different story of what happened. And frankly, I don't care what happened. What I do care about is how it's riling up the public. Look at us, America. We have gotten to the point where we can't have a differing opinion than the next man without somebody trying to dig holes just to find higher ground. That's back-asswards. It doesn't make sense. We throw low blows trying to climb this invisible totem pole that doesn't fucking matter. America, we need to get our heads screwed back on. I don't think it's our president. I think our president has just who he is. Nobody follows that guy. But who he is has exposed who America has been this entire time. The internet and orange-faced Magoo are the ones making it possible for us to see our flaws. Now it's time to notice them. That way, we can create a plan of action to reversing and really, really getting our shit together. We're more communal. We are way more community-based. We have way more love in our heart. We unconditionally live. Where the next man is no better than the last man. Where equality actually exists. And unfortunately, we have probably never fully seen actual oneness because of how separated our tribes have been over millennia. We used to live on different plots of land than one another. We might not ever see a different skin type. And when we did, it was possibly through war. And now we are a hodgepodge. And when I say bring it back, I mean bring it back to handing over shucks of corn, teaching the white man how to grow crop using fish guts, where we were really like why we celebrate Thanksgiving, why we celebrate Martin Luther King Day, why we actually celebrate these holidays, to bring us together, not to divide us. And that's where we've gotten. We are a cesspool of division, waiting to be offended, looking for the next high. And I don't say that to condemn. I don't say that to argue or disagree with more people. I say it because I think it universally needs to be said. Let's screw our head back on. With that being said, let's get into some sponsors, shall we? The brand new Fiddlehead. My friends at Fiddlehead, I'm not going to stop there. My family members at Fiddlehead just opened up their brand new location at Flats on 4th on 4th Street, Southeast, Rochester, Minnesota. The fun fact, if you just type in Rochester, Minnesota, say you're coming from the Twin Cities or Wisconsin or Iowa, and you just put in Rochester, Minnesota, it brings you directly to their corner. If you don't put in a specific address, it brings you right to the corner of Fiddlehead, right on Flats on 4th, across the street from the government center. Go check them out. Hey, order the stationary astronaut. Get yourself served up. And I just want to clarify, I want to make sure everybody's following us on Instagram. I want to make sure everyone's following our Stationary Astronauts page on Facebook. A lot of entertaining content and deep dive content that makes you think, makes you wonder. And get yourself some gear. Hit me up. Hit up the astronauts. Anyone affiliated with the astronauts, hit them up. Get yourself some hoodies, crew necks. We got hats available too. Look it up. Let's get into Soltara Retreat Center, our go-to destination for ayahuasca. As some of you know, I have lived the plant medicine life for quite a while. I started eating magical fungi as a freshman in high school. And that kind of transformed my life with how I perceived the world. Didn't mean I cured all of my anger issues as a young, ignorant, non-mega wearing, hat wearing kid. You know, I was just a loose cannon getting kicked out of the Rochester area Family Y. Meanwhile, my mom was the freaking business office manager there. You know, they didn't care. I was so reckless, you guys. And then I started drinking ayahuasca in 2015, and that's kind of where everything started taking shape. Everything started making sense. Multiple aha moments, 20 years worth of therapy in one 4.5-hour ayahuasca ceremony. It's unbelievable. And now, 4 years later, I still drink the brew pretty much annually, and it has transformed my life. My level of understanding it can be shaken because I love learning on a daily basis, but my infrastructure, my blueprint of my level of understanding is secure. And that's what ayahuasca has given me, especially at Soltara Retreat Center. They have influencer-based retreats as well. I was down there with Dr. Dennis McKenna and Mr. Olympia Dorian Yates, which drew the crowd. And it was so fun because you have like minds meeting down in a foreign location to drink the most potent psychedelic known to man, all the while coming out knowing unconditional love is God. I love you all so much. I really want to make sure that you are all kind of diving in and enjoying what we have to offer. This Saturday, we will be doing a live podcast at a skateboard video release with my friend Colin Gall at the Castle. Make sure you roll through. We've been doing a lot of activities at the Castle, been getting involved because we truly believe the arts are what is going to bring us back to sanctity. I read in a book, I don't know if it was a Malcolm Gladwell book or a different one, but the basis was that all community stems from art. Your favorite communities, go to Denver and go to like a chalk art festival they have. And oh my gosh, the eclectic minds that wander there are magical. It's a place of freedom. And you go down to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. Freedom. Burning Man. Freedom. Go to San Francisco. Freedom. Art is the gateway to the soul. I don't say that lightly. Let me look up and see if I have any other sponsors I need to talk about. Here we go. Okay. I Have Skate Co., my man at I Have Skate Co., he just made a skateboard we're going to be unveiling at the skate video premiere this Saturday night. And, of course, my man Luke Austin at Sacred Heart Studios. This dude is not just a tattoo artist. He is a artist first and foremost. And it kind of goes with the theme I speak of, that community stems from art. Luke Austin he is a savant. He is a visual curator for not just skin. He'll make you a sick print, too, if you want it. He's very talented. He's doing this sweet elephant UFO piece on the back of my leg with an exploding cosmos in the background. And then that we are going to be tying in with some sacred geometry up front with the astronaut on front of my shin. That one's going to tickle. Okay, so check all these people out. This episode with Anahita Champion, it was powerful. Her and I got to make some incredible points together. She is such a divine being, such a person who's tapped into just her purpose. She understands. Her family is beautiful. Mama was there for Christmas when I showed up. I had to give her a big hug. I love the family. I met Anahita at a award ceremony, and we hit it off. So with that being said, enjoy the show.
I'm gonna be high as a fucking man.
And now, the stationary astronaut.
All right, me and my girl, Hita, we're bringing the Hita. Just turn the heat down up here in the loft.
So do you want to know who is up here?
Hita's about to be sitting on a air mattress.
Guess who it is?
Mr. Astronaut,
Fellow Toyum.
hello. We made it. She's taking a live video right now, but check it out. She's got family in town from Eastern Michigan because it's Christmas weekend.
Link and learn more about him.
There she is. I already got mic check. Just waiting on my girl to bring the Hita. We're coming in, guns blazing, on fire. It's a Friday morning. I'm already had 2 cups of coffee. Might have a third. Hita brought me up a hot one. I don't think I need one. Moving on to water. Just met Mama downstairs. She's the bee's knees. I love it when I walk in and like our parents or grandparents are FaceTiming people.
Yeah, so the family from Detroit called, and we're just, letting them know how we are this morning. And she's so cool because last night she wanted to make sure we went and got wine. And so we polished off a bottle, just us two. No big deal.
Like adults.
Boom.
Who made dinner?
I made tacos.
On a Thursday? The club's really going up.
You can eat tacos every day of the week.
I think it's discriminatory to only have one day a week to have
Because
tacos.
that's so, it is. It's like segregation. Yep. No, we're very inclusive in this household. Guacamole, avocados all day, every day, cilantro and everything. Tacos on a Thursday. Boom, drop the mic.
Mic drop.
Except this one's heavy.
Please don't drop that mic.
So good to have you in Studio Champion today.
Yes. This is, it's very exciting because you and I just recently met. We're receiving a couple shiny awards together.
Mine's behind that white chair over there.
Mine is still in the box.
And then I will display all my stuff like a shrine because it's okay to give myself praise and be like, look at this.
I grew up with trophy shelves you know, and it was one of those things where it's like you dangle your medallions on them and the medallions could always F off. You didn't even care about the medallions. I care about the things that are tall, shiny, gold on top.
Yeah.
Lets me know that it's beyond the recognition or the accolades. It's about knowing within yourself what it took to get to that mountain.
To make it freaking happen. Was it sports?
Yeah, it was always sports.
So I never did. Okay, hold on before I throw myself and girls under the bus. I never did your typical sports, like the baseball, basketball, softball, whatever. But I did a lot of dance stuff and I did cheerleading stuff. And shit is hard work. So I didn't have shrines of all these things that maybe some of my peers did. But when I started getting even little things, a letter for the jacket and even a certificate, I kept all of that. That stuff is still probably downstairs in a box.
I shouldn't say only sports because through 8th grade, I was always the spelling bee champion of my school.
Smart.
And no, but I made it to typically I wouldn't go to the district spelling bee because it's like, whatever. I just won my school one. I'm not going to district. I'm not going to beat those freaking nerds, you know? I went my 8th grade year because they were putting you on TV at that point. So I went and I made just a clerical error, man. I said J instead of G in a word that I knew how to spell. And it's like, no, sir, you can't go back. Get out of our courtroom.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
We'll just keep this shiny thing for the next one.
Yes. Well, because then you go on to state, and if you win state, you go to Scripps National on ESPN. So that's why I wanted to go, because I'm addicted to ESPN.
See, it's all about the journey and your vision.
Yes.
I just got really deep right there. But like you said, it's like shit. I got puns for days. I'm not even kidding. But it's the journey, right? A freaking journey. It's like you have your eye on the prize. Sometimes you have no idea what the hell you're about to go through because you really know what you want. You know you want like that thing. But the road it takes to get there is a shit show a lot of the time. And sometimes, okay, so to put things in context, did the Mrs. Minnesota pageant earlier this year. I was like, great. It'd be great to be the first Iranian woman to be Mrs. Minnesota. Heck, even run for a pageant. Like Persians don't typically do that, or I don't know, because they're all doctors and lawyers and engineers and business owners and all this stuff. And so I go through this ringer of getting to a pageant, and I did not win the state title. I'm probably Mrs. St. Paul, but to learn what the heck a pageant entails was a rude awakening for me because I didn't know the mental obstacles that women go through. I didn't realize the self-doubt that a lot of people go through. A pageant is nothing different than going to the nationals that's broadcasted on ESPN. It's nothing different than running a marathon, the big one in Boston. It's just different in the sense of you get a shiny crown and you wear a really cool gown. Holy baloney, like the physical, the mental, the social, the fundraising, the vulnerability. And so anyways, long story short, I wanted like that trophy, but I didn't expect to put myself through this crazy transition. And it's been the greatest experience, cliche to say, of my life.
Would you say you still won, though, in regards to what you learned? Oh, my gosh,
I gained so much. I will say that so it was June, at the end of June. July, I gave myself time. I didn't put a time limit on it, but I think it probably took July and probably most of August to get through what the heck just happened. The self-reflection, the thinking back, the questioning things, leaning into like feeling pissed off and then giving myself praise for doing it. And then September through just shortly after Thanksgiving, so not, just this past like season of accepting like this is why I didn't win, because my mind needs to be shifted in this way. I need to accept this journey for what it is and compare myself to no one but me and stay in my lane. And really, what is my vision? Like really, like I was saying a few minutes ago, do you even know what your vision is? Like you have this goal, but maybe it shifts once you really dive in. Holy crap. It was so enlightening for me. So now, like looking ahead, I've already changed the game. Like I've been so fired up the last 2 or 3 weeks that it like makes up for the lack of anything the last 6 months.
So you're in the midst of a paradigm shift right now.
Shit is happening.
Yes.
It's shifting. Yeah. As our pastor says at the church, shift happens. And he always goes, shift. I was like, yeah, shit happens too. But yeah, it's shifting. And it's like my analogy for the longest time this year, I said, imagine I'm on a cliff and I'm about to take this huge leap onto this big old platform. And I'm about to jump off this cliff. I was like 99.9%, like toes were just barely kissing the edge of the cliff. But something was like kept keeping me on there. It was like restraining me and I didn't know what it was. And now it's like, now I'm soaring. Ooh, I just got chills. Now I'm finally soaring onto that big old platform, like my platform. I've created my own platform.
What was it that was keeping your toes on that cliff?
Honestly, so the biggest thing I realized about myself this year was to not underestimate myself. And a lot of people say, be authentic, be this, be that. We hear that damn word all the time. And everyone probably has their own definition and their own way of life on what that means to be authentic. And for me, I realized I was not being an authentic person through what you see on social media, the stories. I wasn't lying, but because it was genuine. I was coming from a genuine place, which is honest, good things I want. But how it was portrayed, it wasn't raw or real. I would mask things. Like, for example, I wanted to do an Instagram video for something. Well, let me quick make sure I had the right shirt on. Let me go quick, polish my hair and throw on some lipstick. And then I can talk about this. And in the context, it's like contradictory. It's like, girlfriend, who cares what you look like? Like right now, I was just doing this thing. And I was realizing it was a conflicting message, not only to the public, but like me. So I'm out here trying to say, I am this person. I am the pageant queen. I am the business owner, XYZ masters, blah, 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 all these titles. But here I am, confining myself into like these core pillars of life that I want to prioritize: mom, wife, and an on-air host. So like, I don't need all this other muck. So I was not being authentic to these things. I was trying to like go against the grain while a monkey little toddler is hanging on my arms, as you saw at the awards show. So to just lean into that and really like showcase it. So once I started really going into that whole being authentic, it just made sense. The pressure lifted off my own shoulders, my vision, my plans, my goals, my like conversations with people. It was just like seamless.
We are in the age of self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-confidence. Go down the list of self. And because we're realizing we're so broken, like as a planet, and it's not that anything has shifted. Things are still operating the way they always have. We're just so more aware and connected with one another to the point we have no other option but to like just have that aha moment, be like, you know what? I got to work on me. And thankfully, we have things like little blessings like children and these ups and downs, these ebbs and flows of the professional world where we might not get a gig, we might not win this tiara.
Yeah.
But it's forcing us back on ourselves.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a gift more so than anything because I see the glimmer in you.
Yeah. Thank you. I am a boat full of confetti and sparkle. I do light up people's day. I'm always wearing like a bright color. I'm not conceited. I just have learned to just say things like this because it's like who I am. I'm the cheerleader from high school.
Can we draw the line here? Can we draw the line?
Yeah.
In a world of confidence being shamed for so long.
Yeah.
The Marilyn Monroes were shunned by all women who weren't self-confident. Get my drift?
Yeah.
She was hated on. Now she's loved. But the thing is, she was hated on. Okay? She was loved by the male populace that ran the planet.
Right.
So check this out. In a world of people thinking that this ego is this all evil thing.
Bad, right?
All the while, the ones who have not lost the ego, they have found the ego, they have understood the ego, they have become friends with the ego, and they've used it as a tool to the point they are a confident individual.
You just totally summed up my 2018. I felt like I've always been a confident person, but what does that mean? Like I pick up a microphone, doesn't mean I'm always confident. I just love what I do. So this year, again, from the pageant, I realized I had an ego going into it, but in a negative way. So coming out of it, it's like, well, what does that mean? How did I break it down? What was good? What was bad? How could I change it? X, Y, Z. And so now I've learned to basically do what you said, like embrace it and then work with that whole, hey, you're confident, but you're not a dick either. Right? Crazy.
How, in this world, this fast-paced world where it's dog eat dog, whether we want to admit it or not, if we throw away something that has protected us, kept us alive, our ego is the oldest part of our brain. The fight or flight response back 150 million years when we were frickin' shrews. That's all it had. It didn't have a frontal cortex that overthought everything. It was fight or flight. And now we still have that in our genetic code. That is still in our makeup. So now, with a consciousness, being a thought-out human being, we are forced to face that on a daily basis with our Instagram, with our Facebook, where it's like, is this coming from a place of understanding or is it coming from a place of judgment?
Yeah.
Which way is it coming? And we are so hard on who? Ourselves. So if we stop judging ourselves and understanding ourselves instead, it's a winning game no matter what.
Well, and the thing exactly is, I've used this analogy so many times this year as a self-reminder. Facing 1,000 different challenges. We talked a couple about those before in our last time we chatted, but it was like the people that come into your life, the people that aren't good for your life, the challenges you face, the no's you hear, all of that stuff. Why does it make us feel a certain way? It's because society has these ridiculous norms. And if you're not meeting those standards, you're failing. But you know what? Failure is okay. And you have to be okay with failing or else you're never going to freaking succeed. Gary Vaynerchuk has said that a lot. You know Gary.
Fail forward.
Holy crap. And one of my friends, Beatrice, she just launched a program called Mindless Behavior. And it's things that we do as humans. One of the pillars that she talks about is like consciousness and contradiction. We contradict ourselves as humans on a daily basis. My one example, I can't give her example as well as she can articulate, but my example is a new mom, I'll just say, because I am a mom. Dads can probably relate to this too. You hear, oh, you know what? You're going to be a parent. You set your own rules. Don't listen to anyone. Take the advice that applies to you. It's your family, your every body and child, and this and that is different. Then, when a mom faces colic, health complications, whatever chaos happens in a new parent's life, they get so much grief from other people for not doing it the right way. It's like, hold on, buddy. You just said there's no rule, and I'm doing it my way because that's the only way I know. There's no guidebook on how to be a parent, and now you're ridiculing me for trying to do it my way and not your way? What the heck? Mindless behavior and contradiction. Yeah. So staying in my own lane this whole year has been like kind of like the motto I keep repeating back to myself. I'm being graceful. If I feel sad, I feel sad. If I'm happy, I'm happy. But staying in my own lane, like no one can do this the way I can. No one can be me. Sure, there's a lot of people doing something similar passions. Stay in my own lane. Just like when you're driving. Dude, use your freaking signal if you're going to go this way. Like communicate. Oh, man, I'm full of analogies.
I've been getting so much insight from friends and some of my, I guess you could say, spiritual leaders regarding time.
Yeah.
Something happens after you turn 30 where time is different. And time, as we age, is nothing but an equation that gets quicker.
Yeah.
And we learned that early on in math class. But check this out. So if we start realizing that, and we talk about these lanes that we're driving down, my highway, because of my level of understanding, has infinite lanes. So when I get ridiculed for taking a path of maybe least resistance, more resistance, making life hard on myself, easier on myself, doesn't matter. This is my ride.
Yes.
And when people ridicule, judge, or we are very hard on ourselves, it's like, wait a minute, Nick, you've put yourself here and you've opened up so many doors to have infinite lanes.
Yeah.
Stop being so hard on yourself, because being a fresh parent, that's what I do. Like there was life before being a parent and life after. And my level of understanding of how other people parented was totally, it wasn't even on the Richter scale. And I thought it was. Until you become a parent, it's like, wait a minute, I'm doing my best. I'm taking care of my child. I am making the right decision. So she has a full, hearty, wholehearted human being raising her.
And if someone knows what the heck they're going to do and they have a roadmap built out when that child pops out of the womb, you're winning at life. Good for you. Let me give you the big gold trophy, because I will tell you, this applies to being a new parent and where I'm at today, almost 3 years later, and then pre-pageant in January to almost a whole year later, you can only do so much where you're at with the mentality, the experiences, and the feelings you have within yourself. So when I say I do my best, my best is what I'm literally capable of mentally, spiritually, physically in that moment. It can totally shift 3 months later, but I can't forecast that. I don't know what that's going to look like until I'm in that situation. Like 20-something girls, they freaking freak out when they're about to turn 30. I was so excited on my 29th birthday, the eve of 30. I was like, get me out of the 20s, because it was the same crap, drama, 14th grade all over again for 10 years. 30s, it's like, oh, 30 was great. 31, it's like, you don't know what you're going to do in your 30s. Like, you don't know, again, you can't forecast the future. All I knew is I can't wait till I turn 40, because I know I'll get through all the bullshit of the 30s.
Hey,
and get so
I have to stop you there. You can't just drop 14th grade without explaining it.
Oh my God. 14th grade, there's still drama. There's still cattiness. There's still, people are starting to figure out what they like. They're still following leads because they think that's what the norm is. That's what everyone's doing. That's what's trending. Not everybody, but like that's what 14th grade is. It's still, people are talking. They act like your friend and then they stab you in the back 5 seconds later. That doesn't go away. I'm 34. That still happens. But I can internalize things differently and I handle it better, or I can gauge people and their authenticity like right away, as opposed to my 20s. It's like, it's a convoluted gray cloud for 10 years.
It's a more mature identity crisis.
Yeah, and I'm not drinking that crap vodka anymore. It's like, now I'm going to upgrade to this type of wine.
No more Bacardi. No more Bacardi. No, but think of where we all were egoically and mentally when we were 23. Because technically, dude, like you could be hardcore in the professional world at that point, and you could have everything dialed in.
Yeah.
But the majority don't. And I was just thinking on my drive up here, where I am and why I look at 30s as leadership more so than early 20s, because there are early 20-year-olds who are becoming foremans on job sites who are leaders of men. That's a weird place to be when you have a 23-year-old who thinks they found it out because they're 5 years away from 18, but they still really, life is yet to kick them in the grill yet.
That is, listen to that, 5 years past 18, but they haven't been kicked in the grill yet. And that kick may take another 10 years. Yeah, so thank God I'm not in my 20s anymore. It was great. I had so much fun, this experience, and that experience led to where I am now. But like you said, there's something about when you turn into your 30s. And it's not that I want to fast forward the 30s. I'm so excited for, next month, next year, and the next 6 years. But then once I hit 40, it's like, dude, I know J-Lo was rocking it when she was 40, and she's like killing it in her 40s now. And the shift that we go through, the journey. Yeah, but going back to the ego thing, it's like you don't identify an ego and then know what to do with that in your 20s. You just are who you are. In your 30s, you can kind of like look around, shape it. Who are the people I'm hanging out with? Why am I hanging out with this? What's the purpose of going to this one event? Why am I wearing this outfit?
Do you find yourself psychoanalyzing more as a grown-ass adult?
Totally.
Now that you're in your 15th grade or 16th, whatever you consider.
I am in 34th grade right now. That's so funny. Totally. But I try to do it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
I mean, I can be batshit crazy sometimes too, but hey, we're all humans. When you have toddlers hanging on you, you can't be sane all the time. Mm-hmm. I digress. But yeah, I do. I was working with a potential life coach, just a couple of weeks ago. And I think that it might be something I take on in the next year or two, just to see what can manifest, which is my new word of the year. 2019's word is manifest, to make sure it happen. But I analyze a lot of stuff. Again, in a healthy way, to see like, what is the purpose? Why am I doing this? What is my why? And then I go backwards just to make sure that I stay on track. I don't realize that I'm going to psychoanalyze it going into it, but that's what happens when I go down the rabbit hole. And I'm like, oh, no, it's good that I'm doing this. It's 3 days later, I'm still psychoanalyzing this one thing. But then 4 or 5 days later, it's like, this feels good. This is clear. I've leaned into feeling whatever emotions, what happened in the last couple of days. I know what my intentions are. Focus on your intentions. Stay in your lane. Like it all kind of goes back. So it's almost like a healing process for me. And I'm sure some people do that too, but I have to do it to make myself feel better. I wish sometimes I could speed that process up of analyzing or not do it so much, but it's helped me. It's helped me a lot.
You took the word right out of my mouth because I feel psychoanalyzing. No, it gets a bad connotation, but why don't we just call it being analytical?
Yeah.
Where it's like, wait a minute, no, like you're engineering your existence. So that's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. But when it's coming from the wrong place, it can get really dark because it's like, wait a minute, oh my God, I have this very sick person who's trying to psychoanalyze me, but all the while, like, that is me looking, they're trying to mirror themselves with me where it's like, wait a minute, no, because you get, if you life coaching, you get approached by a lot of people. Yeah. My inboxes stay full nowadays of the majority of people needing something. And that's actually why I quit psychology and went into business at a young age when I was in college, because I started realizing I was apparently self-aware enough to know I was going to be taking on all these sick people's energy. Like, no matter what, okay, if I'm helping them, then I'm taking that on. And it doesn't change in the business world or in the social networking world. It doesn't change. There are still people who are dealing with their own stuff. So in a world of psychoanalysis, because social media is one big psychological experiment, that's where it's hard not to go down any sort of rabbit hole, let alone a negative or positive one.
That's another mindless behavior. I haven't read Beatrice's book, which is not done yet, but she talks about this too. So communication, that's my background, strategic communication. We talk about communication is the key, right? How many times have we heard that? However, when you start analyzing and reflecting and talking about it, people have a freaking problem with acknowledging things. Some may call it confrontation. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it's like, well, how are we going to work past this? And if I don't talk about this to myself, with you, with my colleagues, or whoever this applies to, how are we ever going to be on the same page? That's contradicting the communication is key if you're hushing people. It's just like this thing that we as humans do. And I think it's because society has just gone batshit crazy.
We are on real thin ice right now, and I think people are failing to really grasp it because you know what's going to happen. We're going to have Christmas, which is a holiday season. That's what people are going to talk about. It's ugly sweater party season. That's what's going to fill our feeds. Yep. We just got done with Thanksgiving. It's just a cycle. Yep. So then we'll have New Year's. Then we'll have the Super Bowl, which everyone's going to bash whoever performs at the halftime show.
Always.
Maroon 5 isn't going to do enough good things. You know what I'm saying? And then a kid is in the crowd going to turn into a meme. So there's going to be things that people are going to talk about. All the while, what is this doing, Hita? We're ignoring our core issue right now that we are very on thin ice with, let alone our polarized caps melting, shit like that.
They cover it. They sugarcoat it with the things that they can talk to and relate with people on to cover it up because they don't want to talk about the uncomfortable stuff. And a couple of girlfriends I've talked to in the last couple of weeks, really kind of putting my head on their shoulders to or vent to. And it's like, hey, I have a friend and this is how I feel. Like, I don't want to bash her, but I'm feeling like this. Or this project is going, crazy. What the hell is happening? And I'll analyze myself. I'll analyze the communication path, the people along the way, my intentions, all that stuff. And the biggest thing I've heard, which is such a good compliment, it's like, oh, Hita, you are really self-aware. And I'm like, oh, I want to cry every time I hear that. But it's like, pound it. Do you know where I was 9 months ago? It was a mess. So for me to hear I'm self-aware is such a big compliment. I don't know everything, but I know that I feel really good about right now compared to where I was just a few months ago.
You answered right there. You answered my very first question.
What was that? Because I've talked about 1,000
Well, we talked about, trying to enter the Tiara Club and trophies and the journey is what makes it. So by all this happening in Hita's life, look at what has come out of it. You're an even better listener. You're
amazing.
A self-aware person. And it's like, that's what people think this is a sprint. We're so impatient.
Right.
All the while, wait a minute. In the journey of loss, failure, you are gaining so much moment by moment that might not even catch up and come into realization for 9 months. But when it does, you just by being aware of it have grown, and you can never unlearn that.
Preach, Nick. It's the other analogy. You're thirsty, you're hungry, you want to absorb the knowledge like a sponge. But then when you wring it out, it will repel back to its form. And I kind of feel like I was this sponge, maybe a discombobulated, misformed one in the beginning of the year. Didn't realize it. Got squeezed. All the shit came out. That's kind of graphic. Water, the whatever. All the muck. And now I'm like coming back into this really strong, clean form with these things that I learned along the way. Like this bubble is going to pop. It's still in there. It's going to pop. It's going to come out because now I know how to use it. Now it's going to go and manifest into this really cool bubble in this world. My analogies are a little bit not clear, but whatever. The whole concept is like, I didn't know what to do with this thing I learned earlier this year. So I'm going to take it out of my back pocket now because now it applies and I didn't forget about this. So that self-reflecting 6 weeks I had 3 months ago now makes sense.
Your purge is happening. I'm fresh out of the jungle, okay? And I have friends who are hitting me up, who I went on journeys with, and they're like, Nick, I'm kind of negative, or I'm running into this person, and they're negative, and it's negative. It's like, dude, allow it.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Allow
Good.
it.
Thank you for saying that.
Let it happen. Get it out of you. That bubble is going to burst. And when it bursts, the positive energy that comes out of it is life-changing. It's worldly changing. It's relationship changing. That is only going to help you create the butterfly effect and change other people's lives, because that's what you're here to do.
That comes back down to self-awareness, knowing how you internalize something and what you see in people because you've acknowledged it in yourself. And then being graceful with people that are on their own crazy, messy journeys. Like I've had a couple of girlfriends, obviously through life changes and being a mom, and then the single people, and then the work changes and all that. From 20s to 30s, that gap is widespread. And a couple different times, like one girlfriend would say, oh, it's really hard to relate to so-and-so anymore because her lifestyle, she's doing this, she's doing that. I just don't want to deal with it. She's so negative all the time. And I'm like, I don't say things if I can't. If I can help it, I won't say anything. But if I can kind of rationalize a little bit, if I can break through their barrier just a one fraction, I will. But I'll say, I know it's really hard to internalize the negativity from that person, but you got to be graceful with them. Do you know what you're doing? Like, what's your self-reflection? So for me, it's like, I can hear someone talk about the dating life. I have a girlfriend in Houston, and she just, oh man, this girl, I don't know what's wrong with the dudes. It's definitely not her. She is such a gem. But like when it comes back to the same thing over and over and over and over again, she's like always venting about these guys. And I'm like, you know what? I'm in a good place where I can think and feel, and I've been through that. I'm going to listen to her. X amount of times if she's talking negatively, it's not because she wants to. She's going through this transition. But I am self-aware. I know how to feel. I know how to think through this particular example. So I can tolerate that. So for my girlfriends that are always like, oh, so-and-so is negative, it's like, you're still learning you. You're still reflecting on you because you're not in a strong enough mental space to be a quote-unquote good friend to listen to that. And sometimes, before I get flack for anyone listening to this, you're just not in a place. And that's okay to just distance yourself. But man, that's like the 30s right there, the early 30s.
Little do people know is you're actually mirroring yourself. So if you're noticing it, that's something inside of you. And that's also part of a purge. Let that shit go.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Which isn't easy. It's not easy.
It never is. But it's work, and you make steady spiritual gains, and it becomes less hard. Have you always been this straightforward and real? And the reason why I say it is because you come off like you were a great student council president.
Thank you. No. When when I say this has been a transformative year, how is there only 12 months in a year? Like, I feel like, again, genuine. I was a very genuine-hearted, your typical passive, aggressive, sweet Minnesota woman, and Persian on top of that, which means extraordinarily accommodating and hospitable. All the negative connotations to like not be straightforward, but be an awesome human. It was the pageant. It was whatever clicked in my head after June, July of 2018, and all that self-reflection and psychoanalysis and all this stuff. Somehow, I should like put this on my 2019 poster, which I still have to make, of like, holy crap, girl, like 6 months you acknowledged all this, and now I can be more confidently spoken and acknowledge things, hear things, listen to them, and then regurgitate them back. So no, thank you for that compliment. It literally, a huge significant boost in that confidence and awareness happened within the last like 4, 5, 6 months.
Let me know if this fits with you.
Yeah.
During the grind prior to the pageant, beyond trying to get pretty, literally the selling of your soul to sell yourself to everyone and everything.
Yeah.
Did it come off as almost like a traumatic event?
In my head. Are you talking about the pageant?
Just everything, the culmination of it all.
In my head, yeah. So along this, transitional several months, I realized that I've always been stuck on titles. What's my title? What am I going to be when I grow up? And again, it might be the culture that I grew up in, feeding that you have to go to college, you have to get a job, meet a nice guy, that whole path of the template. And what's your title? Oh, I'm going to be a businesswoman. I'm going to go work for corporate America, which I did. I'm going to go, hated that, left it, did my own thing. Okay, I'm an entrepreneur. Holy shit, do you have any idea what it takes to be an entrepreneur? It is not for the weakest of hearts. Anyways, and so different things I've taken on, I'm like, am I trying to fit into a title that I am not built to fit into, and then forcing things, and then everything else in life gets forced with it? Yeah. So I went for maybe like a month or two over the summer. I just stopped dropping titles. I just dropped all titles. I was like, what's the point of this business card? Because I have 5 titles. I do a lot of things. Stop trying to fit into one mold. And
don't sell yourself short. You have badass business cards. Your business cards are dope.
Thank you. It's supposed to be bold and confident and playful like my personality. Shout out to my husband for designing it for me. I already forgot what the question was, but here I'm going on a tangent.
No, do you think it was a traumatic event? Because
Yes.
I'm coming off one where I just put over 3,000 hours into a singular event of fundraising, promotion, go down the list, just everything. Gave it everything. Sold my soul completely.
Nice job.
Yeah, but whatever. Thank you. But we can't unlearn what we learned from that trauma, because it was trauma, and then adding on a child. I can't take anything but good out of it, no matter how much financially I lost, no matter what.
Because you're in a better place now.
And I didn't die.
Yeah.
We're still here, upright.
Yeah. It was a traumatic culmination because I am upright.
Yeah.
Because I'm like thriving. What does thrive mean, right? Like, I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm grateful for that bullshit crap I went through several months ago, but like, look at what we learned and gained, and now how much more awesome are we going to be? But in my mind, it was a traumatic culmination of like mind F, because I didn't know what to make of sense of things. I was really doubting myself, and I was like fearful of, is this the path my life is meant to take? And then I'm reading the audiobook by Rachel Hollis. It's called Girl, Wash Your Face. The premise is the lies you tell yourself, something about like not believing in the lies to live a lie-free life about your, like what you want to manifest into. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, holy crap, how do I turn the page so I don't continue to be this type of mold that I have been taught and have been doing? So for me, it was like this huge explosion of thoughts, self-doubt, questioning everything, people I hang out with, where I'm going to go. Yeah, I kind of secluded myself for a couple of like months there, but it was so healthy. And in my mind, it came to be this huge deal. And that's all that matters. Maybe perceiving it from the outside party doesn't seem that way. But it had to be. Like, I needed this year to happen to realize all these different facets of life and the why. And then focusing on the why, not to like impress someone. It's crazy.
I have a question.
I got an answer.
Okay. Yes is the answer. What is the question? My boy Zach Oli brought that one on me last week. I had to quote it. Okay, so when you live in a realm that builds thousands of bridges, some are bound to crumble. That is a given. Now, I don't care about what causes bridges to crumble. What I want to know is, how do you deal with bridges that inevitably crumble?
Sidebar before I even answer that. When the 35W bridge collapsed several years ago, 10, 11 years ago, it was in the backyard. It was my backyard. I was at the U at the time, U of M. I was on my way downtown for happy hour, changed my mind, decided to pick up a shift at the bar I worked at. Otherwise, I would have been on that bridge. And so it was like just a traumatizing thing for me. Yeah, literally at like 6:06, I would have probably been on it because I was supposed to be there 6:15. But instead, I was like watching the screen on the bar report like the bridge collapsing. And I found out later that one of my regulars was on the collapse. And it was just so heartbreaking. And it was a friend of my friend's mom that passed away, and then another neighborhood guy. And I've not talked about this for years because I didn't want to flash this out. I wanted to be humble, but I got a humanitarian award several months later because I realized that there was something within me that I wanted to do because this bridge collapsed. And while I can't go back and pick up the pieces, while I can't revive this person's life, what I can do is bring the community together and try to raise some funds and then, do greater good. Whatever happens to those money, it goes to a charity or goes to the family or whatever, it's communicating with people in my network. And it was at the time, all the regulars that came in, everyone for 5 weeks. I printed out a 35W interstate sign. I had the CEO and I had all these sponsors trying to chip in some money. We raised $12,500 in 5 weeks, which was matched by her company, I should say. Her name was Sherry Engebretson. And we just sold those signs for like $1. You know how like you go to charity places and you put your name on it, you put it on the wall? Thousands, but like we asked for donations, and it was just like touching people's hearts and just saying, hey, obviously that this happened, this bridge collapsed, and we're all just trying to communicate. And we ended up sharing stories, and I've made some friends from that. And the regulars were like, you know what, I'm going to donate $50 because you're just doing something cool just to bring people together in this really crappy situation. So that's the story.
That is super symbolic of making friends out of a crumbling bridge.
That's just, and maybe that's my answer because I don't really have something that's not cliche. The pageant was like, don't have your solid gold answers. It's like, well, I'm just going to shoot from the hip. And I guess in that situation, it's, oh man, looking at the people around you, and it's like, we're all human. This is a really crappy situation. You can easily try to blame the engineer, Department of Transportation, the city. Like we always want to freaking point fingers at someone. And it's like, forget about whose fault it is, because it probably couldn't be anyone's fault. Like, how can we come together to make this like better, or help each other in this really crappy time, or build like an even bigger, better bridge over the next X amount of years, and then make this huge event, make this project come to life, bring this person like on up to cloud 9. So in that case, yeah, I leaned on the community, even relating, talking, resonating. That was so cool to me.
Damn, I was just in my mom's front yard hitting golf balls.
That day?
That's where I was.
It's like a 9/11. It's like, where were you
Yep.
on, I think it was August 6th.
Yep, it was in the summer.
Crazy, yeah. So Crumbling Bridge, which my old website, my old business, I used to have Brooklyn Bridge and a couple of other well-known bridges in the United States as a metaphor. My name, Anahita, means goddess of the waters. So I'm drawn to everything water-related. Cancer sign, so stubborn. I love like swimming in pools. Hate fish though, so no lakes. But the symbolic aspect of having a bridge on my website and all these different pages was, life is just always going to be like water under a bridge. Like, keep letting it go. We're all just learning how to sail, so to speak. I am the bridge that helps fill the gap and for me, it was PR. Like, you're an artist and you want to get on TVs. I will help you get there. That path that's over the water that you don't want to sink into. So it's funny that you asked that question because I have so many different bridge examples. But again, it's working together. It's how can we bridge it together? How can we work as a community?
Okay. I love that. Now, when bridges inevitably crumble in our professional world, what's the bounce back for Hita? Is it added confidence? Is it putting in more hours? Where does the drive come from? Because inevitably an added gear gets thrown on when a bridge crumbles. Like, we've all been there. No, it's go time now. Oh, you think it's fuck me? Yeah. No, mother sucker, it's fuck you. That's just our internal competitor, you know?
Because you have to go through, and this is psychology. You've been through this. First, you're sad. Then you're angry. Secondary emotions. Then you let yourself go through that tunnel of whatever the hell else feelings are happening, which can go through 5 minutes, 5 weeks, 5 days, whatever. Let myself take some time to grieve. It's easier to say that now because it's like, was that going to be a day? Is that going to be 6 months for this one particular situation? It was a whole entire year, but not stopping, not just like hibernating for that year. I'm still feeling sad as I'm feeling motivated to like freaking keep going on what the initial goal and vision was the entire time. So I have this really hot pink poster in the studio. You guys can't see it that are listening, but it's on the wall and it says Hita's 2018 goals. And it's not my vision board. It's just goals I want to achieve. And then the big in the corner of it, it says big, fat, hairy, scary goal. What is the one thing that I won't probably say out loud to too many people that I really, really want is to be an on-air TV host for a national entertainment platform. I have now said that 1,000 times this year, but everything on that board, all the goals, friends, family, social, business, sponsorships, blah, 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 all needs to power up to that one. So if I'm feeling sad because my bridge crumbled here, or if I'm like pissed off about something here or really jazzed, like I have to make sure that I always keep my eye on that prize, which is not easy. Some days it's like, am I really ever going to stop being pissed off about this thing? Yeah, because if I don't, I'm never going to be able to meet that big, fat, scary, hairy goal. So
got to go through the stages.
The why. Yeah, and going through those stages. And that's okay, and being graceful. And I feel like people, again, a mindless behavior will always say, I'm here for you. It's okay. Let's talk. Let me know if you want to talk. And then when they start talking, it's like always negative or sad or depressing. It's like, dude, there is no rule how to mourn. Mourn the loss of someone's life, mourn the loss of a business, mourn the loss of a relationship, mourn the loss of I can't freaking find the left earring. Like going through all these things, grieving sucks. And I say suck because like it can bring on a whole bunch of emotions that you might not be prepared for. But at the end of it, you know you want to be happy. You know you want to succeed and dominate and do X, Y, Z. So feel what you're feeling, but keep pushing. And through that, I've learned maybe this type of personality of this person in my life isn't going to cut it because I need a certain amount of gravitational pull from people that like this and believe in me to help me get there.
Oh, self-reflection comes out of grief. And kind of the self-awareness we're talking about.
You said it.
Self-reflection. Because, you know, in those grieving moments, it's like you're kind of incapable of like, for at least a few days, accomplishing really anything that takes any mental endurance.
It's hard. It's like I don't want to like seclude myself, but I have to give myself a few days to feel that way. And then I'm like, all right, who's the one girlfriend I can call? I need to throw on some lipstick and get the hell out of the house, or just call and vent and cry. And then she'll say something really great and I'll feel good again.
Hold on. So lipstick is the Band-Aid to the soul, the hurting soul?
Actually, for me, it's mascara. I don't even know why I said lipstick. I think that's like a Audrey Hepburn thing. But yeah. And mirrors. People need to have mirrors in their house, in their car. Again, another mindless behavior. People say that you have mirrors, you're a cocky person. No, you're not. You're aware. You're ready for self-reflection. Boom, I just said it.
Oh my Lord.
You need to look at yourself in the mirror, and if you look sad, fix it. Or embrace it, or cry in front of the mirror for a couple of days. But when there'll be times where I don't look at the mirror, not on purpose, but by accident, and then I'll be like, holy crap, this is what I've looked like the last 2 days. let me quick wash my face, put on some moisturizer, a little bit of mascara, and I feel like I got this. Only because I looked in the mirror. That's self-reflection.
Dang, I wonder what it is for a guy, because we can't go that route, or we typically don't go that route.
Take a shower, shave, I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, shaving is a big one. If you're a male and you're getting gruffy, it's like, that dude's sad. That dude's definitely sad.
It's also, it can be sexy too. But,
it can. But there's a phase there where it's like, he's either sad or he's working on something.
Or he's working on something.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's working on something. You had said a word that that a business mentor of mine told me the day before Gary Vee. She's like, Nick, you need to, I've never had anyone tell me this, not a coach, not a mentor, not a parent. Nick, you need to be graceful.
Seriously?
Tomorrow, operate with grace.
Yeah.
And that still sticks with me because she's one, someone I really respect, two, someone I really look up to, and three, someone who really helps me professionally in life.
Nice.
And when she told me that, Hita, I was like, oh, so that's what's expected of me. I have done the work, put myself in these positions. Now I need to show up to the dance by being graceful.
Isn't that a crazy word? I never really used that word until 2018. Last year, my word was purpose. This year, it was grace. And I'm like, what the heck does grace mean? It seemed like this big spiritual word that I hear people use often, but to apply it to myself, and that transformed the reason I used it was different. Not only being graceful in general, but hey, if you're feeling crappy, feel crappy. Like, be kind to yourself. You're dealing with somebody totally different than you in this situation, for this project, for this event, whatever it is. You've probably manifested through this journey, but this person's probably just starting. Be graceful with them. Be graceful with the project. It may go in 1,000 directions that you didn't plan, but all you can do is just take it on. The word has truly taken away a lot of anxiety. I also addressed that I felt anxious, and I've never admit that to myself, let alone the public, until this year, because everyone's like, anxiety. It's like, well, you could talk about it. Anyways, but being graceful with that. Isn't that word just insane? In a great way? Well,
because when you think of it as an immature child, you think of a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
Grace, operate with grace, Don't be boogieing,
It's
man.
dainty or whatever it is.
Dainty. But
ballerinas, man, they are tough chicks and guys.
Have you seen Black Swan?
Not the whole thing.
Just the mental strength
Insane.
a ballet dancer needs to pull off the nutcracker. Look at those tootsies. Them tootsies ain't so pretty, man.
They've been through hell and back.
Actually, that's a great metaphor for people who have taken the leap, taken the dive. They are like the tootsies, the poor tootsies on an old ballerina's feet. We are grizzled. We are chiseled spiritually. There's no situation you can put me in that I haven't prepared for.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Yeah. And when you have grace for a lot of these situations, you can just take a deep breath and just tackle it head on. Instead of being high-strung and anxious and worried about what the hell the outcome is going to be. It's already written in the cards. For people that are spiritual and faith-based, God's already written it. Right? It's already in the universe. The star's already out there. Just when the clouds disappear, you'll see it. It aligns. Letting myself believe in all that is dang. There's nothing I can do but just persevere, be graceful, chill out.
Chill out, man. Chill out, man. Okay, I've got this thing we're doing with people that motivate me. I don't do this with all the hippies I talk to, but I'm going to do it with you. Okay, it's 60 seconds of motivation.
Okay.
What I want you to do, we're going to get this thing started. Okay. You're going to hit us with the goods. 60 seconds. I'm going to stop you at 60 seconds. So get it all in. What you got to do is you got to spill the beans.
My heart is racing.
I know. That's what I'm saying, though. I'm giving it to you. I'm getting you fired up. You've got to get the people fired up. 60 seconds of motivation, Hita. This is where you give us the goods. This is where you just tap in to your psyche and you let it speak through you, okay? It is your time to shine right now. Nothing is stopping you. I love you so much. 60 seconds starts right now.
I feel like it should be an auctioneer.
No ums. Get going.
Do what feels truly right. If you feel like you have to say something on your mind to stand up for yourself, do it, but know your why. I feel like I've been a silenced voice for so long, and then I'm like, just speak up. Raise your hand if you have a question, and don't worry about it. People will judge you because, lo and behold, everyone else in the room might need the same answer. Be yourself. That's the biggest thing, man. I am punny. I have puns. I love freaking guacamole. I love to watch Fuller House. I like wine. I love Nutella. I'm a dork. I will totally embrace it, and it's taken me almost 34 years to fully accept it. I'm a mom. I don't wear makeup half the time at home because I work for myself, and I put on a couple pounds because the corporate pants are gone. That's okay. Be graceful with yourself in that process, and make a goal board for yourself. And on there somewhere, whether if it's 6-inch piece of paper or a big old poster, write your big, big, big hairy ass goal, whether that's for the day, the year, the month, your life. And don't ever forget what that is.
Yo, that was 60 seconds on the dot, and that was 60 seconds of realness right there. The picture you just painted in young women's heads that don't listen to this, it's a lot of middle-aged men. A lot of middle-aged men listen to this show.
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate. Hello, governor. No, but what you did is you just let it be known that you are a human being.
You're human. We all feel. We all hate. We all love. We all suck. We all fail. We all succeed. You're human.
You are human. Anahita, where can people find you before we get going?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my website, www.itsanahita.com. And all my social is at Anahita Champion.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.